Find y'all partner. Keep your standards high, okay? And if it's someone that's showing red flags, just leave, okay? Period. I don't care. It could be the smallest red flag. You are not meant to fix them. Walk away. Because when I tell you, my husband didn't have red flags. He had red flags to other people. But to me, I knew they were not red flags for me.
Child, Porsha's claim that her husband Simon had no red flags is giving me Delulu vibes. Girl, do you know the tea on this man? Porsha's husband, a Nigerian businessman named Simon, has a long criminal history. And let me tell you, this whole mess is like a spin-off of TikTok's 50-part series, Who the F Did I Marry? Baby, I'll get to the latest charges soon, but first let me fill you in on how this man has been nothing but a liar, a cheater, and a huge red flag for years. Can you believe that Simon used a fake PR firm to inflate his net worth? Basically, this firm will publish anything you send them, as long as you pay them. So Simon used them to lie about his wealth and act like they verified it by checking his financial records. But that's not all. It turns out that Simon's business website was a basic template with no real information about what he does for a living. And his businesses are a sham. And before you drop your jaw, let me tell you some more things that are not even in the recent court documents. Girl, by 2021, Simon had 21 liens, 9 judgments, and 2 loans from PNC Bank for his 2 Rolls-Royces. He also allegedly owed a lot of money to the IRS and filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy several times, with one in 2014 when his businesses went under for $3.8 million. In 2021, there were reports that he was likely filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy again for his Simon restaurant and club. And just so you know, nobody had to dig deep to find all this information, because all these things are public records if you do a simple search on the man. Okay, let's be honest here, guys. Did Porsha really have no clue about all these things, especially when she was talking about her man having no red flags? Do you want to tell me that she had no idea about all his problems? Honey, given how these two got together and the many things that don't make sense about their relationship, it's really not surprising that this is the person Porsha chose to marry. I mean, for those who remember, Simon and his ex-wife Fallon Pina announced their divorce in April 2021. And the next month, he and Porsha announced their engagement. But what a lot of people don't know is that Porsha and Simon had been hooking up since at least September 2020. And Porsha wasn't the only one he was hooking up with. Around the time he announced the engagement, a woman named Jessica Harris exposed to the Jasmine brand that she had also been dating Simon since she met him in March 2021. Jessica said that through multiple text messages, Simon told her that he wanted to get to know her better and made her think that they had a future together. And that once his divorce was final, they could have an open relationship. But then she found out about the engagement to Porsha.
How'd you find love while you're over here whipping me around in that Ferrari going 100 miles an hour and hair all over the place, got me looking crazy on these pictures? How you do that?
Even though Jessica faced a lot of backlash then, I have to admit she really did try to alert people about Simon's true nature or lack thereof.
All it was just like, you're a fraud. We're watching you on your live talking about your wife, how she cheated, she does drugs, which I can address that later, and you're in all this kind of stuff when you're doing the same thing, you know? It's like you're a hypocrite and you're a fraud, and I don't like that.
And speaking of red flags, do you remember when Porsha showed off the $300,000 car that Simon gave her as a gift in 2022? She posted some photos on Instagram of her posing next to the car, which had an orange interior and a big red bow on the hood. But fans quickly noticed that the car looked very familiar. Because in August 2020, Simon's ex-wife Fallon had posted a photo of herself next to a Rolls-Royce that also had an orange interior. So the question was, did Simon give Porsha the same car that he gave Fallon? Well, even though Simon denied it, it was still very shady that he gave both of them the same type of car with the same color inside. And by the way, these are the cars that had loan problems from PNC Bank in 2021. Oh, there's more. I'm telling you, this man is a fraudster from head to toe. There's so much more evidence that his businesses are fake, his mansions are rented, his private jets are borrowed, and so many other things that he lied about and paid for to pretend to be a millionaire. And now, let's get to the court documents that have recently exposed Simon again. Did you know that his crimes go back to 1982, when he first came to the US on a visitor's visa? He left voluntarily in 1985, after getting into trouble with the police for credit card fraud. Let me tell you, this man was very busy with the law in the US. Because in August 1982, he overstayed his visa. In September 1987, he pleaded guilty to bank and credit card fraud, which is a felony. In January 1989, he was arrested for unauthorized use of a vehicle. And in 1990, he was arrested for ID fraud. In 1991, after overstaying his visa again, he got into trouble with the law again. He was ordered to be deported. And the next year, he was kicked out of the US. But Simon was very determined to stay in the US, and he scammed his way back with a different identity. He applied for the Special Agricultural Worker (SAW) program, which gave him temporary resident status. And after a waiting period, he became a permanent resident without the immigration authorities knowing. But the court documents say he got away with it because he lied on the application. He said he was never arrested and had a clean record. Honey, all these tricks came to light when Simon applied for US citizenship. And he was denied not once, but twice. In 2016, his naturalization attempt was rejected because his permanent resident status was illegal. He tried again in 2020, but he was denied again for not being lawfully admitted for permanent residence. But Simon didn't give up. He filed another complaint in 2023, asking the court to overturn the denial and grant him US citizenship. But on January 11th of this year, the US Citizenship and Immigration Services got the right to dismiss the case. And the court documents also revealed that Simon's marriages were a scam. He is accused of faking a marriage to stay in the country. His previous wife exposed him and said they didn't live together and never had sex. Basically, the court documents clearly showed how Simon, 1. Applied for SAW benefits with a different identity, 2. Lied about his marital status, 3. Wrongly answered no to the question of whether he had any prior arrests or convictions, 4. Falsely answered no to the question of whether there was any reason he was inadmissible, given his criminal history, and 5. Gave the wrong date of his last entry into the US. Based on all that, the court decided that Simon's permanent residency for his naturalization application depended on his permanent residency status from his SAW benefits, which he got through lies and omissions about his identity, criminal history, and other personal details. And so his permanent residency status was not valid for his naturalization application. Without valid permanent residency status, Simon's complaint failed to state a claim that he met the requirements for naturalization. And after lying so much for so long, Simon is likely to be deported again. Basically, it's over for him. But what does that mean for Porsha? Well, Simon actually responded to his citizenship struggle, and he said he was doing fine. He posted a selfie on Instagram. But Porsha probably knows that Simon is in danger of being investigated and deported. That's why she agreed to join Real Housewives of Atlanta again. Baby girl needs money that she can keep separate from Simon's money. What I know is that they will definitely spice up the show with their drama. Because nobody can top Simon's messy past. And I highly doubt that Porsha will follow her man once he gets deported. But what do you think about Simon getting exposed? Did Porsha really not know about all these public details? And how do you think this relationship will end after this? Let me know in the comments section below.